Hey everyone, my name is Rowana and I'm a nursing student at the University of Sydney. Tomorrow is my first ever clinical placement, and as you can imagine, I've been feeling a little bit anxious and stressed and a bit nervous about everything over the past week. But today I wanted to share with you some of the ways that I cope with some of my anxiety and stress before a big event or an exam or a presentation, or even just like a social event where I'm going to be feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Before I go on, I just wanted to mention what I mean when I'm talking about anxiety in this particular video. Everyone will experience some form of anxiety throughout their life at different stages in life, and a lot of that is completely normal and actually like a really good thing. When we are put in stressful situations, our body initiates the sympathetic nervous system, which turns into this fight or flight response, as you may have heard it before, and that sets off some symptoms that you might experience as anxiety, but it actually helps your body to prepare itself for that stressful situation, whether it's like running away from a bear or getting ready for an exam, and it's those nerves that actually help you to prepare yourself for that situation. But you should keep in mind that anxiety can manifest into something that's very unhelpful, especially if it becomes a chronic process, which is like having really chronic and persistent anxiety in situations that really shouldn't warrant an anxiety-provoking experience. And it can really become a hindrance on how people conduct themselves in their everyday life. So in today's video, I'm referring to that first type of anxiety that I mentioned, which is a completely normal human experience. So I just wanted to mention that. But if you are having problems, or if you feel like you're dealing with some anxiety that isn't healthy, then I would definitely encourage you to go and see your GP about that and ask them how you can get some help with that as well. Now that I've got that out of the road, let's get straight into some of the things that I do to help cope with some stress, nerves, and anxiety. Some of the first things that I want to talk about is kind of encompassed in one aspect, which is to be prepared. Now, there are a lot of ways that I'm going to kind of suggest in terms of being prepared, so I'm going to go through a couple of them, but these ones I find have really helped me to be able to take some of that stress away in those situations and just help me to kind of feel like I've actually got things under control. So the first thing that I like to do is to make a to-do list and plan out everything that I need to do before an event or before an exam or situation that I'm going into. For example, because I have my clinical placements coming up and I knew that that was happening at the start of the semester, I had a look at everything that I needed to get done before I went on my clinical placements, whether that's getting my vaccinations sorted out or getting my uniform ready. I made sure that I had written all of those things down in a list and when I needed to get them done by, and that way it just helped me to kind of put everything down on paper and not get it stuck in my head. Yeah, it really helps me to like not leave things to the last minute as well, which I used to be so prone to doing in my undergraduate degree. But yeah, it's just so beneficial because I can put everything down on a piece of paper or in my notes list on my iPad or my phone or something, and then it's not kind of getting cluttered and stuck into my head, and I just can't stop thinking about those things and can't kind of formulate how and when I'm going to do all of those things. Something else I wanted to mention in terms of writing things down in a to-do list is to be really specific with what you need to do. For example, if I needed to book an appointment to get a vaccination done, I would write down the phone number that I needed to call, who I needed to book it in with, what I needed to get done, and then write all of those points down in the actual to-do list. That way when I look at it, I know exactly what needs to be done and I'm way more inclined to actually go and do it straight away. So yeah, being specific when you write those things down in your list, yeah, it'll help a lot. Okay, moving on to the next thing. When it comes to the night before or the day before the event, I really like to make sure that everything is packed and ready to go so that I don't have to worry about it in the morning. Whether it's like making your snacks or lunches, making sure everything's in your bag, laying out the clothes that you want to wear the next day, having all of that ready is just so beneficial because it saves so much time in the morning and it helps me to like limit the decisions that I have to make and having some sort of decision fatigue happening in the morning. So yeah, I've had my fair share of experiences doing that throughout my life, but I have learned that from now on I try and have everything packed and ready to go the night before so that it makes my mornings a lot less stressful. Something else that I do is to plan how I'm going to get there. Especially if it's somewhere that I haven't been before, I get some anxiety as to knowing where I have to go, how I'm going to do it, and I don't know, this sounds really stupid, but I sometimes get a bit of social anxiety that people are going to know that I don't know what I'm doing. If I'm driving, I will look up the route on Google Maps the day before, and I will have a look and see how long it's going to take me, whatever Google says. But I will also add an additional 20 minutes to that time to make sure that I'm compensating for anything like traffic or having trouble finding a park or something like that. And that way I've given myself plenty of time to make sure that I'm getting there and not having to stress about those sorts of things. If I am catching public transport, for instance, the day before I will look up the bus routes or the train timetables, although in Sydney, if you live in Sydney, you probably know how reliable that is. Yeah, I'll have a look at the timetables and I will add on an additional 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour sometimes, because I know that it's not very reliable in Sydney and I don't want to be turning up to a bus stop at the time that it says the bus is going to get there and A, the bus is really late, or B, it just doesn't turn up at all, which has happened to me a lot. So I will always add on a little bit of extra time to be able to know that I'm going to get there with enough time to spare. Something else that I would probably encourage a lot of people to do is to actually aim to get to the place that you need to go to at least 15 minutes before you actually have to be there or meet someone. It's really unprofessional to be late, especially if you're going into things like clinical placements or an exam, and you don't want that added stress of worrying that you're holding other people up or you're going to get to your exam late or something like that. So always aim to be there, if not 15 minutes early, then 10 minutes or no less than 5 minutes early, because yeah, it's just so stressful. I don't know why anyone would do that. But yeah, if everything seems to go right and you manage to get there in half the time you thought it would take, then I basically just sit and get a coffee and maybe listen to an audiobook and just chill out for a little bit, try and calm myself down and yeah, get prepared for whatever the day holds. That kind of segues away from the preparation side of things and into the next part, which I kind of wanted to talk about, which is to find calm in your day. One of the easiest ways that I like to find calm throughout the day is to just listen to some really nice relaxing music, either when I'm traveling in the car or on public transport or something like that. But if my brain is still racing around and I can't kind of stop thinking about the things that are worrying me, even when I've got the music going, then what I also like to do is to switch over to an audiobook. Something that I might suggest is maybe pick an audiobook that you've listened to before so that you're not kind of listening to the story and trying to piece things together, but you can just kind of throw your mind in there just to kind of picture what's going on. Especially if you've heard it before, you're able to kind of form a picture in your head. What that does for me is it really helps to kind of push all of those negative worrying thoughts out of my mind and I can focus on something else for a little bit, and it just helps my brain to kind of have a rest and calm down and reset itself before I need to start the rest of my day. Another way that I like to be calm and relaxed is to actually have a bath. I like to add Epsom salts and some nice smelling bubble bath or something like that, a bath bomb even. Yeah, it really helps me to wind down after a stressful day, or if I am worrying about something the next day, then having a bath the night before really does help me to relax before I get into bed. And I find that my sleep is a lot more peaceful and I feel a lot more rested when I wake up the next morning. Something else that I like to do, which I know is probably not everyone's cup of tea, but it is something that I love to do when I can, is to practice yin yoga. Now, if you're not used to yoga or this particular practice, essentially it is a lot slower paced than like a regular vinyasa or flow yoga, which a lot of people may recognize as yoga. It's a lot of holding poses and some stretching, and it's a lot slower and you're focusing on your breath. I used to go to a practice at my local gym, but I have since quit because I was just spending way too much money there. So a good alternative I found is to actually go on YouTube and just look up some of the yin yoga sessions that you can find on there. There's some really good ones and I might link a couple down below. But yeah, if you're doing this at home with like a YouTube video, then something I would suggest is to dim the lights, maybe do this in the evening, close the blinds or something like that. Try and close all of the doors so that you're not getting distracted by other noises, and even light a candle or maybe have a diffuser going so you can have a little bit of aromatherapy going as well. So yeah, those are some of the things that help me to calm down when I'm feeling stressed or anxious about an upcoming event. Finally, I wanted to talk about something that I think is essential when you're dealing with a stressful or anxiety-provoking situation, and that's being able to talk to someone. For me, whether it's my mum or my dad or my boyfriend, another family member or a friend, even my dog, just having someone there to be able to talk to, even if they can't talk back. I think it's really beneficial to open up and talk about how you're feeling about something, and if someone can give you some advice or if they're able to kind of validate the situation that you're going through, then I think it really, really helps. I feel like it can be really freeing to just get those worries out of your brain and out of your mind, kind of like writing things down in a to-do list. It kind of gets it out of your head and you don't have to kind of keep worrying about it over and over again. I encourage you to talk to someone face to face rather than through a phone or texting or something like that. But I completely understand, like, it's not always possible to talk to someone face to face. So that's the beauty of having phones and social media at the moment, and kind of connect with anyone, any of your friends and family at the click of a button, which is fantastic. But if you can talk to someone face to face, then I think that's going one step further. So that is pretty much everything that I like to do to help me cope with my anxiety or stress or nerves leading up to a stressful event or situation or my clinical placements tomorrow. Just to recap, the top 3 things that I kind of spoke about were being prepared, being calm, and talking to someone as well. If you've tried any of these tips yourself, or if you have some of your own ways of dealing with stress and anxiety, then please let me know. Just leave a comment down below and I'd love to hear about it. Also, let me know if you have any questions about anything, or if you have any specific videos that you want to see from me, then yeah, leave me a comment down below and I will have a look at those. And if you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!